Pokémon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Two shonen anime juggernauts that dominated the US in the early 2000s. We've all seen the memes posted for nostalgia clout, but it's interesting there's always been a desire to either pit these two against each other or have them cross over in some way. While we've never really gotten anything technically official, there is one weird thing I want to talk about. So let me tell you about Kids WB. This was a programming block in the United States that aired all the good stuff owned by Warner Brothers on Saturday mornings. Looney Tunes, Batman, Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans, and so much more. But most notably, they aired anime dubbed by 4Kids Entertainment, like Pokémon and Yu-Gi-Oh! While nowadays some fans will look back on 4Kids dubs with disdain, some credit should be given for introducing us to these shows at all. Anyway, this is where both Pokémon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Aired alongside each other from 2001 to 2006. And this wasn't just a television block with a lot of shows. Kids WB would often air crossover commercials and have themed weekends, where characters were cut out of their respective shows and brought together, often with original voice acting. Cartoon Network also did this with their Cartoon Fridays block and their CN City bumpers. But I will argue that Kids WB did it better because some of these are the most unhinged commercials I've ever seen. These were wacky, but the fact that all of this effort was put in with the editing, the backgrounds, 3D assets, and again the voice actors really made them something special. It all took place on a cartoon-styled version of the Warner Brothers studio backlot. I assume this implies that all of these characters exist outside of their respective shows as actors and film everything here. Either way, this is a pretty genius idea as a setup because you can also have these kids just coming in from live action and having fun here as well. I have talked about some of these in the past in themed Christmas videos, but why not take a look at a few that bring Ash and Yugi a little closer together. One fine summer we had the privilege of watching the Way Out of the Way road trip, where characters from Kids WB were split into 3 groups and traveled across the United States to explore some landmarks. Seeing all these big names inside the mystery machine is crazy enough, but it turns out there was even a sweepstakes, and it appears that one of the prizes was a t-shirt themed after the Way Out of the Way road trip. Because these commercials are so old, the exact design is a little hard to make out, but it looks like Yugi is here on the left, and if he's there I would assume either Ash or Pikachu are there as well. Let me know if you can make them out. If they are, then that makes this an officially licensed crossover t-shirt. The real question is, who won any of these and do they still have it? Most of the road trip commercials are just the characters interacting with whatever landmark they come across, but we do get to see some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters together, like Joey and Pichu of all characters. Send this screenshot to a friend and see what they say. Ash and Yugi each have their own short bumpers.
You're watching the Kids WB Way Out of the Way road trip!
You're watching the Kids WB Way Out of the Way road trip!
There was also the Turkey Day Food Fling, which had characters divided into 2 teams, one of heroes and the other of villains. The Crunch Bunch featured both Ash and Yugi, while the Mighty Mashers had Jesse, James, and Kaiba. Each segment just had them launching gross food in weird ways, and while it's a fun time, the focus is really on the wacky shenanigans of everybody all together. There isn't a whole lot specifically with the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. There was also of course the Holiday Sock Party, which like I said I discussed in a video, but once again it contains numerous segments with the entire cast of Kids WB, with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters appearing together a handful of times. Specifically at one point, Ash is watching a duel between the Sock, which was a running character, and Kaiba. But now we can move on to the events focused around Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Yugi's Tips and Tricks training camp.
Do you want to learn how to duel? Yeah! Good, because now's your chance in my Duel and Tips and Tricks training camp. For one entire Saturday, my camp counselors and I will be revealing some of the game's best strategies, such as when to play a trap card, how to read your opponent's mind, or how to style your hair. Let me help you with that. There you go.
Like, thanks!
All will be revealed. So don't miss Yugi's Duel and Tips and Tricks training camp this Saturday beginning at 8, 7 Central and Pacific on Kids WB.
In each segment, Yugi would spend some one-on-one time with different characters. And now we get the battle of the century as Yugi tries teaching Ash how to duel.
Time for more of Yugi's Duel and Tips and Tricks training camp. Card choices.
All right, Ash, I've played a Magical Hats card. Now what card might you play?
Should I play Karibo?
No. What card would you play? You have to think quickly in these situations, Ash.
Charizard! I choose you! That's what I would play.
Oh, I see.
Stay tuned for more of Yugi's Duel and Tips and Tricks training camp right here on Kids WB.
Well, it was only part of a tutorial and Ash never even played a card, so I'm not sure if this counts as a win. But it's hilarious and actually has both of them acting in character. If Ash and Yugi actually met each other, I think they'd be friends and just really want to battle or duel each other for fun. There was also the Halloween Duel of Screams, which actually ran for 2 years in a row, but it's hard to find any recordings of it. The one I did find was a camera in front of a TV screen, but hopefully that gets the point across. This was a tournament loosely inspired by Duel Monsters where characters would face off against each other using cards of screaming children to create the scariest scream. Look, I know that sounds insane. And it is, but anyway, the tournament bracket works out in such a way that we get another duel between Ash and Yugi.
Now I've got my 2 best scream cards. Go Mario, go eat!
Wrong. My magic cloak card makes one of your cards disappear.
Huh?
Jack, go!
Yugi wins. Stay tuned. The final duel is just a scream away on Kids WB.
This time Yugi wins and even goes on to win the entire tournament. Might be rigged, but apparently he didn't win last year, so I think this is more to make up for that. But anyway, I guess we finally have our answer to the Pokemon vs Yu-Gi-Oh debate. Ash would beat Yugi in a Pokemon battle, but Yugi would beat Ash in a duel. Wow, both of these anime have different power scaling, what a surprise! Though it seems like as the years went on, they either became more generic crossovers or Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh characters fell out in favor for distinctly Warner Brothers owned IP. And near the end of the programming block's run, there were even less crossover events. Nowadays, the Pokemon franchise keeps to itself except for Super Smash Bros. And the occasional Japanese-only promotion. Yu-Gi-Oh only crosses over with other properties that also originate from Shonen Jump. But I just want to say that means because we have Goku, Naruto, and Deku in Fortnite, Yugi is not too far off. But for the few years we had, I am so surprised it all happened on Kids WB. After taking a look at these crossover commercials, I think this was a major reason we often wanted to see these two franchises go at each other, because they were so closely related to each other in the US. Of course, over in Japan, the anime were created by different studios and aired on different channels, but in the rest of the world, they would air one right after another on the same station, and were both dubbed in English by 4Kids Entertainment. Because of this, they even shared voice actors. Dan Green voiced Yugi Muto and Professor Birch, as well as several other Pokemon characters, like friggin' Entei and the Iron Masked Marauder. Veronica Taylor played Ash Ketchum, of course, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, she was Carly Carmine. Eric Stewart voiced Seto Kaiba and Brock, as well as James. Ted Lewis voiced Bakura and Jack Atlas, as well as Tracy Sketchit and Giovanni. Maddie Blostein voiced Solomon Muto and Meowth. Tara Sands played Mokuba Kaiba and Richie, as well as young Samuel Oak. Amy Birnbaum was Taya Gardner and Max. Those are just to name some of the main roles, but no doubt they shared even more voice actors. So the only time Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Really crossed over was thanks to 4Kids and Kids WB. I'll try to leave links to some playlists or compilations so that you can witness the pure insanity for yourself, but otherwise it's so fun to seek these out and discover what's been preserved all these years. This was such a fun video to make and was actually the result of a collaboration between myself and the Twitter account Pokemon Commercials, which is run by me, and also the new channel on the block, GatorEX YuGiOh, which in case you couldn't tell is also run by me. Yes, that's right, it's a new year and I'm feeling the itch to make some Yu-Gi-Oh content yet again. Now this won't be a channel for duels, pack openings, and deck profiles. My goal is to create basically the same type of content I do here, but for Yu-Gi-Oh! So that means scripts, unique topics, and lots of memes. But please be patient, I'm still getting things off the ground. If you're also a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, go ahead and subscribe, and if not, don't worry, this shouldn't interfere with the videos here. But now that both the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime have gone their separate ways, I look forward to see what they both bring us in the future. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators. Jackson, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Michaela, Mr. Pig Puncher, Phantom Pyro, Quago, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you'd like to support as well, get a shout out here as well as access to emotes and comments and live streams, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter for more memes. Anyway, this has been GatorEX, and I'll catch you all later.
A new card has been drawn.
I summon the card of Double Duels.
And that means Saturday mornings are filled with twice the Yu-Gi-Oh! Action, including a brand new episode.
Beware the ultimate power of two.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Catch the first episode this Saturday at its new time, 8:30, 7:30 Central and Pacific.